Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Kopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtodrishatashi Shabbat His Right Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtodrishatashi Shabbat His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 22. Prithu Maharaja is speeding with the Kumaras. We're on text 56. Rajetyadan Namadeyam Somaraja Ivaparaha Suryavad Visrajan Grinan Pratapamscha Bhuvo Vasu Ajetyadan Namadeyam Somaraja Ivaparaha Suryavad Visrajan Grinan Pratapamscha Bhuvo Vasu Ajetyadan Namadeyam Somaraja Ivaparaha Suryavad Visrajan Grinan Pratapamscha Bhuvo Vasu
Namadeyam Somaradi Vaparaha Rajitjadhan Namadheyam Somaradi Vipaparaha Suryavandasijam Vinnam Patapam Sabhavovasu Damodar Kumar. Rajitjadhan Namadheyam Somaradi Vipaparaha Suryavandasijam Vinnam Patapam Sabhavovasu Rajitjadhan Namadheyam Somaradi Vipaparaha Suryavandasijam Vinnam Patapam Sabhavovasu. Anyone give a shot? Rajitjadhan Namadheyam Somaradi Vipaparaha Suryavandasijam Vinnam Patapam Sabhavovasu.
Word by word translation. Raja,
Raja,
the king.
the king,
Iti,
Iti,
thus.
thus,
Adat,
Rahat,
took up.
took up,
Namadeyam,
Namadheyam,
of the name.
of the name,
Somarajaha,
Somarajaha,
the king of the moon planet.
the king of the moon planet,
Eva,
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 like.
like,
Aparaha,
Paraha,
on the other hand.
on the other hand,
Suryavat,
Suryavat,
like the sun god.
like the sun god,
Visrajan,
Visrajan,
distributing.
distributing,
Grinan,
Gritman,
exacting.
exacting,
Pratapan,
Patapam,
by strong ruling.
by strong ruling,
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also,
Bhuvaha,
Uvaha,
of the world.
of the world,
Vasu,
Vasu,
revenue.
revenue.
Translation. Maharaj Prithu became as celebrated a king as Somaraj, the king of the moon. He was also powerful and exacting, just like the sun god, who distributes heat and light and at the same time exacts all the planetary waters. Purport. In this verse, Maharaj Prithu is compared to the king of the moon and the sun. The king of the moon and the king of the sun serve as examples of how the Lord desires the universe to be ruled. The sun distributes heat and light and at the same time exacts water from all planets. The moon is very pleasing at night, and when one becomes fatigued after a day's labor in the sun, he can enjoy the moonshine. Like the sun god, Prithu Maharaj distributed his heat and light to give protection to his kingdom, for without heat and light no one can exist. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj exacted taxes and gave such strong orders to the citizens and government that no one had the power to disobey him. On the other hand, he pleased everyone just like the moonshine. Both the sun and the moon have particular influences by which they maintain order in the universe. And modern scientists and philosophers should become familiar with the Supreme Lord's perfect plan for universal maintenance. So just read a couple more. 57. Dordarshas Tajasvagnir Mahendra Eva Dorjayaha Tikshaya Daritriva Dayar Eva Bishta Donirnam. Maharaj Prithu was so strong and powerful that no one could disobey his orders any more than one could conquer fire itself. He was so strong that he was compared to Indra, the king of heaven, whose power is insuperable. On the other hand, Maharaj Prithu was also as tolerant as the earth, and in fulfilling various desires of human society, he was like heaven itself. Purport. It is the duty of a king to give protection to the citizens and to fulfill their desires. At the same time, the citizens must obey the laws of the state. Maharaj Prithu maintained all the standards of good government, and he was so invincible that no one could disobey his orders any more than a person could stop heat and light emanating from a fire. He was so strong and powerful that he was compared to the king of heaven, Indra. In this age, modern scientists have been experimenting with nuclear weapons, and in a former age they used to release Brahmastras. But all these Brahmastras and nuclear weapons are insignificant compared to the thunderbolt of the king of heaven. When Indra releases a thunderbolt, even the biggest hills and mountains crack. On the other hand, Maharaj Prithu was as tolerant as the earth itself, and he fulfilled all the desires of his citizens just like torrents of rain from the sky. Without rainfall, it is not possible to fulfill one's various desires on this planet. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 14, Parjanyad Anyasambhava. Food grains are produced only because rain falls from the sky, and without grains, no one on earth can be satisfied. Consequently, an unlimited distribution of mercy is compared to the water falling from the clouds. Maharaj Prithu distributed his mercy incessantly, much like rainfall. In other words, Maharaj Prithu was softer than a rose flower and harder than a thunderbolt. In this way, he ruled over his kingdom. This is text 58. Parshati smayata kaman parjanya avatar payan samudra evadur bodha satvina chalaraj shiva. Just as rainfall satisfies everyone's desires, Maharaj Prithu used to satisfy everyone. He was like the sea in that no one could understand his depths, and he was like Meru, the king of hills, in the fixity of his purpose. Purport. Maharaj Prithu used to distribute his mercy to suffering humanity, and it was like rainfall after excessive heat. The ocean is wide and expansive, and it is very difficult to measure its length and breadth. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj was so deep and grave that no one could fathom his purposes. The hill known as Meru is fixed in the universe as a universal pivot, and no one can move it an inch from its position. Similarly, no one could ever dissuade Maharaj Prithu when he was determined. Om Gadati Padandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshudhanamaditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Kridvachalam Pangam Nangai Tegrim Yakpatam Ham Vande Shri Gurun Ditaranam Vancha Kabadri Pishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavne Byo Vaishve Byo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So some pretty amazing comparisons that are being stated here in relation to Prithu Maharaj. He said he's like the king of the moon, he's like the sun god, he's like Indra, he's like heaven itself, and what else? He's like Meru, huh? Tolerant as the earth, yes. Tolerant as the earth, he's like Meru. Wow, quite amazing. So yeah, these different glorifications of Maharaj Prithu, they're not an exaggeration. They're real. And of course, it's been brought up many times that within this section of the Bhagavatam that you have Maharaj Prithu, he's on the side of a spectrum which is just absolutely amazing, like perfect. Absolutely perfect. And you have and what's been brought up many times is you have nowadays, it's like the other side of the spectrum, modern governmental leaders and societies Now there's unqualified people. They may be qualified materially on some level in terms of having some intelligence to manipulate things or exploit things or people, but in terms of the qualities that we're hearing that Prithu Maharaj has, they're not at all qualified in that regard. So these different qualities that we read about in the Bhagavatam from different devotees, Prithu Maharaj, so many different, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, so many different Maharajas and devotees, they're meant to be inspiring to us in the sense that something we are trying to live up to. In other words, we should try to become like these personalities, at least to some degree, on some small level, or some degree. Of course, to become like them is not so easy thing, but that's one of the reasons why we read about great devotees, is because they're teaching us how to be a devotee, good examples or transcendental examples. And this is very important because, after all, it's a disciplic succession, and Srila Prabhupada, he would stress this all the time to his disciples. He would say, I'm an old man, I could leave at any moment, so I want all of you to surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. I want you to carry on the mission, execute my will. He would say, execute my will. Which, executing a person's will, it's, in some ways it's a legal, they use that in the legal, they even say legal world. It refers to that the person who will leave this world or die, they will pass their property and so on to the people, their children, or whoever is they decide to. So in other words, their property, their responsibilities, they'll pass it on. Sometimes their debts. Apparently, I don't know if they do it anymore, but like I think they used to do it, because my mother said that her mother passed away and she had all this debt, and it was transferred to her. Yeah, it's not just a debt, but of course Prabhupada didn't do that. But so, but the main thing he was stressing is that, okay, I'm giving ISKCON to you practically, and please maintain it, and please develop it further. So that's a great responsibility, actually. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's actually extremely important. But in relation to this disciplic succession going on, of course, those in the Ritvik parties, they say, which means Ritvik means, they say that anybody can be initiated by Srila Prabhupada. They don't, and specifically, there's two different types of Ritviks, but specifically they say that that the gurus nowadays are not qualified, so therefore they can't give initiation. So you should take initiation from Prabhupada. And, Want to use the mic?
What about, are you able to accept somebody dating further back in Prabhupada? Like, could you take initiation from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati or Jagannath Das Babaji or
I don't know.
That's one of the arguments against it. That becomes absurd.
what Kevin says, or Bhakti Kevin, he says, okay, well, yeah, I want to take initiation from, was it Sandipani? What is it? Sandipani Muni. And therefore I'm Krishna's godbrother. So therefore you got to do what I say, right? Yes. But they have a big place up in, by Mountain View, near Mountain View, yeah. And it's a bit of it's a bit problematic for ISKCON devotees up there because they go around distributing books, knocking on people's doors, pumping out books up there. And when people answer the door, oh yeah, we're passing out books, and oh, you already came by. You already came by and gave us books. And they say, oh, what do you mean? Well, because they didn't go there. And they said, oh, well, the Krishna Balarama Mandir, they already came by because the Ritviks had built a big temple there. So it's a little problematic because they don't know, people getting confused, books, this and that. So I was asking if there's any Prabhupada disciples up there, but they're all Prabhupada disciples. So if one's a Ritvik, then okay, this isn't a problem, right? Yeah, two kinds of Ritviks. One is Ritvik says that okay, no gurus are qualified, and Prabhupada's only guru for this age, Kali Yuga, from this point on. And the other guru is, as far as I understand, is that, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but the other Ritvik is that there may be a qualified person in the future who will come, but there isn't one now. Is it? You could tell Mike. Mukunda Charnas. Yeah.
Well, I thought those two were kind of the same one. That there's the soft. You could put it could be put as soft Ritviks and hard Ritviks. Soft ones being that because there's no one qualified right now, then Prabhupada, you have to take initiation from Prabhupada. But if in the future somebody comes, then you could take initiation from them possibly, if somebody comes, some self-effulgent acharya in the future. But the hard Ritviks are that even if there was a pure devotee on the planet right now, you can only take initiation from Prabhupada in ISKCON. So that's the hard one, that even if there was a pure devotee here now,
even if there was a self-effulgent acharya,
yeah, that it wasn't Prabhupada's vision that anyone ever initiates after him, even if there was a pure devotee.
I see.
That's the hard one.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Hard and soft Ritvik. So one is that you could take initiation, only take initiation from Prabhupada, right? At this point, or ever. And the other one is that soft is that you're only taking initiation from Prabhupada now, but maybe there's a self-effulgent acharya in the future who will come, you can take initiation from him. But as far as I understood, there's one not now. Okay. All right. So with the hard Ritviks, we could say that they don't really have to worry, or people who accept that philosophy, they don't have to worry about, you could say, a bunch of individuals becoming qualified to carry on the disciplic succession. But as far as we understand it, is that we do have to worry about that. We have to worry about people becoming qualified to carry the disciplic succession. It's not that the disciplic succession, it's just Prabhupada's, the guru, and that's it. But there's a whole chain after Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Srila Prabhupada's grand disciples, it has to carry on. So when we hear about these different personalities in the Bhagavatam, then we should be inspired that I need to become qualified. And even if one doesn't become a Diksha Guru, one should be a Shiksha Guru. And if one is not a Shiksha Guru, they should be a Vartma Padarshika Guru. They should be some type of Guru. And Guru means qualified. What is it? Yadidikita ka Krishna Padesha Amar Gorahud Tatari Taridesh, that wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna, and this way become a guru and liberate the land. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order that has to be done. But the problem that people have nowadays is that they have a hard time surrendering to anybody. And yeah, one is because they're puffed up, proud, sure, that's true. But another reason is because there's faults in people. And sometimes we say, oh, well, don't focus on the faults, it's not a big problem, and, see beyond it, we're like, the devotee's like a moon, right? And, there's some faults there, but, it's shining, it's effulgent, it's still giving out light. Okay, that's there, sure. But still, we have to think about how people are seeing us, that we have to become qualified. We can't just use that, in other words, using it as an excuse. Hey, Prabhu, I got some faults, but I'm like a moon, right? Because I'm emanating, light still, even though I got some faults, right? Come on, give me a break here, right? Yeah, I got some anger, I got some lust, I got some this, I got some, yeah, but so what? I'm like a moon, right? You can't do that. You can't use it like that. So it's not just, in other words, it's not just all those people, those people, those puffed up disciples or, puffed up general populace, they won't accept, guru nowadays, right? Well, it's like, the guru has to be qualified, has to be advanced. So that's important, because when we're singing that song in the morning, we sing it every single morning. Samsadadava, Mahaprabhu here, we're singing a whole song about the spiritual master. Now, of course, that is referring to Srila Prabhupada, but it should also refer to other devotees. It means not just devotees in the past, like 500 years ago, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and, all the saints of the past. It should refer to modern day saints, modern day devotees, spiritual masters. And it does. But Srila Prabhupada, he really wanted devotees to, his disciples, grand disciples and on, he wanted them to become qualified, to lead people. Because after all, that's the system, right? That Krishna has. Tad vidhi panipatena pariprashnena sevya. Surrender to a guru. So how is that supposed to happen? It has to happen from devotees becoming qualified. So we're reading about Prithu Maharaj, and extremely qualified person, qualified devotee. I don't have a clock here, so maybe you think somebody could bring the clock. Extremely qualified person, and people, so many people, they were able to surrender to him because they felt that, okay, I could surrender to this person. I could give my life to this person. Just like I won't be cheated. Just like devotees, they feel that about Srila Prabhupada. I could give my life to this person. Disciples, I could give my life to this person. I won't be cheated. If I follow this person, I will be successful. My desires will be fulfilled, and so on. So similarly, those acting as gurus, they should also be able to instill that faith in their followers. But also, just again, not that everybody's going to be some big world guru or something. Even on our community level, people should feel that. With those who are in any type of leadership position, I could trust this person. I could. This person wants to help me, right? This person cares about me, and that's important for a community, for a religion, for a movement, for anything to go on. Or else people will just feel, okay, I'm just cheated, I'm exploited, nobody cares, and what's the use? I'm out of here, right? Yeah, every man for themselves. And of course, he wasn't just all, he was, of course, devotees, like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, there's certain devotees, and also in Srila Prabhupada's Leela, there's certain devotees, his disciples, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers. They have certain qualities that stand out more so than others. Like, for example, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, Shakshad Vairagya Murti, so he's known for his renunciation. That's a quality that stands out, his renunciation. And same with Raghunath Das Goswami, his renunciation. All of them were renounced. That's what it means to be a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to be renounced. But these specific ones were they were known for it. So there's certain devotees also, they're known for their humility, they're known for different things. So, but what I'm saying is that so Prithu Maharaj, it said he was soft as a rose, but he wasn't just all rosy. He was hard as a thunderbolt, but he wasn't just all thunderbolt, right? He was both, soft as a rose and hard as a thunderbolt. So depending on the situation. So that's important too. I mean, they have this saying: you should be strict with yourselves and lenient with others, right? That's important. Not to be too overbearing with others. You're strict with yourself, lenient with others. It means give people a little room to wiggle, a little slack, right? Don't get too, not that the opposite, right? You know what the opposite is? What is it? Yeah, lenient with yourself, right? And then strict with others, right? So that goes into practicing what we preach, right? So if we practice what we preach, okay, fine. If somebody says, do this, do this, do this. Okay, if they're doing it, then it's very, okay, sure, he's doing it. I could, at least, I can't criticize him that much for telling me. But if he's not doing it, then okay, it's a problem. So this is what Prithu Maharaj is teaching, is that this amazing example that he was qualified in so many ways, humble and hard as a thunderbolt, soft as a rose, and caring about the citizens, and such strong personality, just like Indra. And it says also that he was determined. It said, similarly, no one could ever dissuade Maharaj Prithu when he was determined. So it's not that if he had a idea and he wanted to go with it, no one could convince him otherwise. That's not what it's referring to. He would consult with the Brahmins. He wouldn't just, okay, I got a good idea, and no one could dissuade me otherwise. I am determined to fulfill this idea. It says no one can move it an inch from its position. Meru. Similarly, no one could ever dissuade Maharaj Prithu when he was determined. But his determination, it was based on the advice of the Brahmins. It wasn't just like, oh, I have an idea, let me go for it, and no one's going to dissuade me because I'm determined. So similarly, that's very important within our life, is that we have so many ideas. We have how many ideas a day, they say? I don't know. Does anybody? Like 2 ideas a day? What to eat, where to sleep, or I'm not referring to you. Yeah, there is. There's a statistic how many thoughts you have in a day, and specifically how many thoughts you have that are the same as yesterday. Yeah, most of them are negative. That's another thing. Positive. It's important to be positive, actually. About being positive, Harikesh Swami. Harikesh Swami, okay, he's not a Swami anymore. Everybody knows that probably, right? You can't believe it, right? He was one of the biggest book pushers. He wasn't distributing so much himself, but his disciples, they were just, it was hard to believe how many books they're distributing. Hundreds of books every day, going out on the street, just pump, books. And what he said, and he wrote in one of his book about Sankirtan, one book he wrote, I forgot what it's called. Oh, All Glories to the Sankirtan Devotees. So he said that he went to a particular place in Europe, and he said the whole temple was all kind of negative. Everybody was kind of like walking around and their head down. Yeah, we can't distribute books, and we're never going to do it, and this and that, and just kind of we can't preach. And then Harikesh Swami went there, and he stayed there for some time, and he started preaching and walking around saying, yeah, we can do it. We're going to distribute lots of books. He's very positive, and he kept on talking like that. Yeah, we're going. And he said this whole, just him saying that, of course, he's a powerful personality, but just him saying that, he said it really changed the temple. Oh, yeah, we could do it. And then, anyways. So, negative, a lot of them are negative. So, the same thoughts. Oh, yeah, we have so many thoughts a day. So many plans. Yes. How many? Shh. 80%. So 50%. We have 50,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative, and 50% of them are positive. No. Sorry. 20% are positive, but 50% of them are repetitive. Yeah. Oh, 95 are repetitive. Oh my God, whoa. Repetitive, huh? All right, so how many, like Dravida Prabhu said, how many of those thoughts are about Krishna? We can analyze that. How many of my 80,000 thoughts are about Krishna? And then, and how many are negative? Yeah, we should try to change, right? So we have so many thoughts a day, and a lot of those thought plans, right? We're planning, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do so many things. That's fine, okay, I guess. Maybe we have to analyze them. But when it comes down to it, we should see, okay, how are these thoughts, how are these plans, how is what I'm going to do, the plans, how are they Krishna conscious, and how are they in line with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, with the spiritual master, with the saintly persons, with the scripture. And we shouldn't be so sure that they are all the time. They may be, sure, sometimes, but we should check. So that's what I'm saying with Prithu Maharaj. He was determined, but his determination, his plans were he consulted the Brahmins, and then he acted. And that's how all great devotees operate. They consult, and then they act. And if they're doing something wrong, then they change. So, and in many ways, you could say material life and spiritual life, there's so many things actually. I know we say all the time that they're like completely not related, but in so many ways, they operate on the same platform. Just like in Krishna consciousness, when we continue with the process, right? Continue. We become more and more obsessed, more and more addicted to Krishna, to the degree that we want more. Krishna. And you could say we're never satisfied. You are satisfied, but you're never satisfied in the sense that you want more Krishna. You're addicted to Krishna. And material life works the same way. People addicted to Krishna, not addicted to Krishna, addicted to not Krishna, Maya, want more. They're never satisfied. And so, anyways, these qualities that Prithu Maharaj, determination and so many different qualities, we want to have these qualities in relation to Krishna. It means we want to engage these particular qualities, determination and so on, in Krishna consciousness. And that's how we become successful. Maybe we could just end by Trivita Prabhu telling us this, the miser, counting the names. Yeah.
He's sabotaging me. I'm just Vichayani, Vichayani, Vichintyani Punak Punaha Kripanasya Dhananiva Tvannamani Bhavantunaha. Compelled to constantly collect and count his precious hoard, the miser contemplates his wealth with avaricious aims. Please bless me to become a miser who's compelled, O Lord, to constantly collect and count and contemplate your names.
Yes. So we become greedy.
Greed is good.
Greed is good. The holy name. How many books can I pass out? Right? How many whatever? How many artis can I become greedy? Right? How many pakoras can I take? No, I'm just joking. You become greedy for that. So that's important. Okay. Does anybody have any?
Yeah, I have one comment.
Question.
If I could. The Ritrik. We should have a 2-minute discussion on the Ritriks. Actually, the whole confusion arose because of an editing question. The word henceforward. I was looking for it, but I didn't find it. The date of that famous conversation where Prabhupada set up the successive gurus, and it was May. I mean, I'm just missing it here. But it's famous enough. So, in May of 77, Srila Prabhupada was, his illness was serious, and so devotees wanted to make sure they understood the succession. So, so Srila Prabhupada was there. A delegation from the GBC came. I think Satsuru Maharaj was asking the questions, but all the leaders were there in Vrindavan. And they asked Prabhupada about what will happen after you leave, if you leave. How will the movement go on? What about initiations? There was an urgency because there had been a lot of devotees waiting to be initiated. Actually, one was right here, Jai Govinda. And Prabhupada, he had already accepted Prabhupada, and Prabhupada passed away before he could get initiated. So they were concerned, well, what's going to happen with the devotees who are waiting? Can they be initiated by you because you can't travel anymore, and like that? So it was set up at that time that, actually, that came a little later. That's the letter that Prabhupada wrote through Tamal Krishna Maharaj. But Prabhupada named, I don't know if he named it right then, but there was a list, the famous 11. And then the question, well, what's going to happen with it? What's the nature of their initiation? He said they're regular gurus. They're going to be regular gurus. They'll be their disciples. They will be their disciples when they, So that was all it was very well understood. And of course, it was recorded carefully, and it's in the letters, books, and everything. Everybody understood it there in the room, that these 11 will become regular gurus, and they'll have regular disciples, and they'll be their disciples. But then there was this whole backlog of what was going on, because they didn't know when Prabhupada would leave. And so devotees were very eager to get initiated by Prabhupada. So then he dictated a letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj where he said, I have named these 11, and he named them in this letter, and henceforward, those who are pending to be initiated, they can write. Whoever's closest, he didn't get, whoever's closest to that person, they can write to that person I designated, and they can, if the temple president approves, and so forth, they can get initiated, get the mantra, they can get the beads chanted, get the name, and the formality of the ceremony. But they'll be Prabhupada's disciples. And this was the whole source of the Ritvik phenomenon, is that Prabhupada says right there, henceforward. Henceforward means into eternity. But it ignored the previous conversation where Prabhupada set up these gurus who are going to be regular gurus, and they're going to be their disciples. And were you here at the time in 1990, I think it was? There was a big conclave right here in this room.
Sure.
We had you heard about that? Yeah, that was famous. Huh? It's online, actually. It's on YouTube. Yeah. And then back and forth, and some of the leaders of. I was just thinking, Rabindra Sarup came and Jayawada Maharaj was here. He was already living here at that time. Vidyananda Maharaj came, but then he left before the conference. There was a whole story about that. Anyway, that was a watershed, but it's been going on ever since. And mostly you don't hear about it so much in ISKCON anymore, but one devotee in India named Madhu Pandit Prabhu, who I'm sure you know very well, he's established a center after having gotten all the donations to build an ISKCON center. He then said, this is the Ritvik Center now in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And he became very wealthy with real estate in New York. I don't know if you know that. He at the height of the real estate, he made millions of dollars. And that's why he established a big center in Jaipur. And
Vrindavan.
And Vrindavan. Right, I was there when he was building that. A lot of food distribution, right? And the temple or whatever. So that's going on, and they adhere to this policy. But it's bogus. It's not in our sampradaya.
Yes.
And he's the guru.
Yeah.
When he leaves, then who's going to be?
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard that with Madhu Pandit and his followers down there, South India, a lot of the times, if you ask them, because his idea is that, okay, they're not my disciples, they're Prabhupada's disciples. That's that's the basic idea, right? So a lot of times you ask them, his followers, so whose disciple are you? And so many of them, they'll say, oh, Madhu Pandit's my guru. It's kind of hard to get it out of their mind, that Indians, okay, guru, disciple. So, yes, Jamal, you have something?
Just a curiosity. Because it would come as a surprise to me if this would be the first time this Ritvik issue has come up in our Sampradaya lineage. So is there any history of that being mentioned, maybe even in Gaudiya Math, which is much more recent,
I don't think so.
in previous?
Well, there was the...
They tried to find a precedent, and they couldn't find a single precedent for instance in our Sampradaya.
Really? Wow.
That was part of it.
The Upper Sampradayas, right? The bows, right? Owls, Sucky Bakis, so many different, right? 8. But, and then in the past, I'm sure there's been all types of bogus deviations, but yeah, in relation to this, it seems like it's a new. Yeah.
Well, when they had that debate here in the 90s, the Ritvik debate, that was one of the points that Ravindra Swarup Prabhu and my spiritual master pressed them on, is where do you find any precedent in our entire sampradaya of any instance where anything resembling this took place? And the answer was, no one knows enough about our sampradaya to say definitively if there was an instance or not. Meaning, we don't have any evidence, but maybe it'll come up in the future.
It may fade away, but I don't know. A lot of the times these things don't fade away. That's the deviations and groups and stuff, a lot of the times. Just like, anyways, there's so many, you could say from ISKCON, so many kind of little groups that kind of branched off and have different ideas, but a lot of the times they don't, they just continue. I mean, is it to this day? Yeah, like to this day in India, there's, I think it's a Saki Bakis, yeah. Saki Bakis means you're a man, you're dressed like a woman, like a gopi, and then you're performing your bhajan, right? To this day, there's still people doing that. I mean, I went to Varshana. Varshana's here, not this Varshana. I went to Varshana, right? Srimati Radharani's place. And very beautiful, right? But we were there, we're walking around chanting japas with Tirtamash, and a few of the devotees were walking. And I look over and I see this person, and he's a man. But he's dressed as a woman. His beads or whatever, so it's still going on. We don't accept that. It's a deviation. Why do they do that? Yeah, trying to get in the mood, the bhav, gopi bhav. Yeah, gopi bhav. But, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so many devotees that say, it's a material body. I mean, Krishna's not attracted to the material body, Anyway. Yeah. Sahotra Swami actually wrote a nice little book. It's a small book, but it goes through the whole, the eight, I think, or maybe there's more, but the Upper Sampradayas, the main ones. So he describes their deviations. So, nice. All right, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.